Hey, Marshall. Hey, hey, Trisha. Hey, Flo Nash. Hey, Pretty Miss G. Hey, Dickie. Hey, Larry. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Candace. We're gonna let this build a little bit. How you doing? Hey, Marshall. Hey, Candace. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Larry. Hey, Dee. Hey, Miss Georgia Peach. Hey, Trisha. Hey, Karen. Loving seeing all my nieces and nephews. Hi. Y'all got y'all tea ready? Y'all got y'all tea ready for Auntie? All righty, let's get on into this. Hold on one second. Now, y'all know Auntie, I am so excited, y'all. First of all, hey, y'all. Hey, it's Auntie Buffy, and I want to welcome you to my new show, Ask Auntie Buffy. Now, y'all didn't think I was going to leave y'all hanging, did you? In this show, I'm here to answer all your burning questions from finances to taxes to investments to credit and to building generational wealth. You name it. Auntie's got the tea because you know Auntie know everything. Now, today we have a very juicy topic. I have a new link, and Lisette is our moderator. Say hey to Lisette, everybody, in the comments. And I think she's already posted it, but there's a link in my bio everywhere and on my social media. Ask Auntie Buffy. You don't have to show your face, y'all. You can just send me an audio message like this niece did for me and ask me your question, whatever it is. If you feel that it's embarrassing, you don't have to show who you are. Or you can send me a video, whatever you're comfortable with. And I just might choose your question and focus a show on it and get viewer feedback, do a poll, all that good stuff. So it's like free information from TT and from your peers. So take advantage of it, okay? All right. So today, and Auntie gonna have to because my slide is acting up, Auntie gonna have to ghetto rig this a little bit, but we're gonna get into it. Today we've got a thought-provoking question sent by one of my fabulous nieces. She's wondering, should I pay off my husband's tax debt with my home equity? So let's listen to her question. Now, you know, Auntie, I'm black. I'm gonna get a rig this because the thing ain't working. Hold on one second, children.
Hello, Auntie Buffy. I purchased my home in 2012. I got married in 2014. So the home is just in my name, not my husband's name. I never put him on the deed. He needs money to pay his back taxes and asked me to take a loan against my home, which I don't want to do.
Period. Did y'all hear that? Period. So let me just, because I had separate discussions with this niece, and let me just break this down a little bit further to y'all. But before I do that, before we get the show rolling, you know the drill. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ding that notification bell. You don't want to miss out on when I go live or I upload. We're here to help and get that financial wisdom, sugar, so don't forget, okay? All right, so now, y'all know how Auntie feels about assets like properties, right? But I want to hear from y'all too before I dive in. So let me pin what Lisette is posting. Y'all, you can also come in and talk to me in the chat, or you can talk to me on the show. But let me pose the question a different way because I talked to her. She purchased her home years before she got married. She has built up six-figure equity in her property. She is over 50 years old, and my niece is comfortable with her current mortgage payment. She's not trying to have her mortgage payment change. She's not trying to have to get a home equity line of credit to pay off his tax debt, but it's causing problems in the marriage because he feels like, well, you got all this equity. Why won't you help me? You know, we're supposed to be a couple. We're supposed to be married. We're supposed to be, you know, in love. We're supposed to share everything, you know, for richer or for poor. Manipulative. We're supposed to share everything, and you're not willing to do this for me. Now, also, the tax debt was acquired before marriage. And the tax debt is six figures. It ain't no little, oh, he just owed the IRS a couple $1,000s, honey. No, ma'am. No, sir. No, they. Ah! No, no, no. It's six-figure tax debt that he had before they got married. And see, Auntie mad with her on a whole bunch of levels because before y'all get married, you need to have an open discussion about your finances, what folks' credit looks like, what your goals are. I don't know how we got married before we discuss these topics, right? How do we get married before we discussed finances? Like a six-figure tax debt is a huge, and I'm not saying don't marry somebody because they've got a six-figure tax debt. Auntie's not crazy. I mean, hell, Uncle Dave had six-figure student loan debt, but we discussed it before we got married and put a plan together. And Auntie wasn't assuming his damn debt. And I don't want y'all to do that either, right? So, it looks like most folks saying hell to the no. If he's in debt, are you in debt also? Very good question. So, under Auntie's cons, let's go over the pros first of if she did this for her man. If she decided to do this for her man, she would make him happy. It would likely create a harmonious environment in the home. Everybody would be happy. Well, he would be happy. She would be unhappy. And this is the thing for me. The cons are one, and you need to know this. Right now, this is not my niece's debt. Even though they're married, this was a before marriage debt. When you acquire debt in a marriage, like a home equity line of credit, it becomes a joint liability. Let me say that again. So if she were to go at what he said and get a home equity line of credit to pay off this debt for her husband, it then becomes a joint liability. I see somebody in the comments saying it depends on the state. Not really. Let me tell you why. This is more mortgage law. Even if she got it herself, even if she acquired the mortgage herself without him on the line of credit because he has no ownership in her property, it then becomes a marital debt. And because it becomes a marital debt now, if they were to get divorced, my niece would then be stuck with having to pay half of that home equity line of credit, aka half of his student loan debt. Because all you're doing is transferring the debt from the IRS to her home's equity, right? And so why would you do that? Why would you assume liability over his before marriage tax debt? That doesn't make any sense. He knew about her equity, but she didn't know about his tax debt. Yes. I'm sure he looked up that. Let's see. Yeah, but she be miserable with this loan hanging over her head. I would agree, especially because she is over 50. She has likely had this house for 20 some odd years, almost finished paying this mortgage off. And now he wants her to turn that clock back and start over again with six-figure home equity line of credit. Not to mention, rates are extremely high right now. Rates are in like home equity line of credit rates are going to be in the 10, 11, 12%. It's not going to be 6%. It's not going to be 7%, which is still high. It's going to be in the 10, 11, 12%, regardless of your credit, because second mortgages are in second place. So if the house were foreclosed on, the HELOC people ain't going to get their money until the folk with the first mortgage get paid. And so it's a higher risk for them. And so HELOCs are more expensive. Hey, Courtney, my sister's in the hospital. Y'all tell her hi. Wouldn't that be the same as child support? I mean, in what regard, Marshall? What do you mean by that? Should she be paying his child support? Hell no. That's his debt. Why would my niece need to pay his child support? He was paying child support before the marriage. And she shouldn't assume that liability either. My definition is both parties feel of a compromise is both parties feel comfortable with the outcome. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. And Auntie's gonna come up with some options for that. But first, you're gonna assume the liability with a HELOC. It then becomes partially your debt. And quite honestly, if you get divorced, no matter what is in that divorce decree, if he ain't got the money to pay it, that HELOC is attached to your home, right? So really, it's 100% your debt, or you're gonna lose your house. So really, without, even if he's not really thinking that he's being smart and like doing the okey doke on you by making you assume this debt, he is making you assume the debt fully. If you were to get a home equity line of credit, because he's not on the deed, he's not on the mortgage, it then becomes your debt. And yes, you can get a divorce and have whatever you want in the divorce decree. But all of y'all out there that's been divorced, know the divorce decrees don't mean nothing. All these people talking about you supposed to refinance the house and give me half the equity. Well, if he got janky behind credit and is unemployed, how he gonna refinance the house and give you half the equity? And then if he just refuses to sell the house, what's gonna happen to give you half the equity? Divorce decrees need to happen, but sometimes they're not enforced. So it's a resounding from Auntie, heck no, this is not what you need to do. This is not the course of action. And for me, what I don't like about this is, what's the difference between paying it off with a HELOC and paying it off himself? A debt is a debt. A debt is a debt. Another problem is for my niece is she's going to have a higher debt to income ratio with her credit. So let's say she only owes $80,000 on her house right now, and she takes out $100,000 of a home equity line of credit to pay off this tax debt for him. Well, guess what? Now her new debt is $180,000 plus interest. So to lenders, if she wanted to go out and buy a new car, or if she wanted to go out and buy a rental property to build her generational wealth, that's gonna skew the numbers and make her look like a higher credit risk when this ain't even her debt. So we're not doing that. And it's gonna cause resentment. It's gonna cause resentment on both sides. So he's gonna be mad if she doesn't do it, but he's already mad she hadn't done it in however many years they've been married. And then two, for her, there's gonna be resentment because I just took over this debt. And listen, in marriage, know that I would be throwing it up in your face every 5 minutes. I would be throwing it up in your face every 5 minutes. Would you? Every 5 minutes, I'd be like, I paid off your tax debt. I'm messy, like Auntie messy like that. I don't know about y'all, but Auntie would be like, every 5 seconds, I would be like, I paid off your tax debt. Anything. Hello, how you doing? Good morning. Why you ain't made me no breakfast? I paid off your tax. That's how messy Auntie is. So I just think, all in all, it's not a good idea. How old are they again? In their 50s. They're in their 50s. The fact that he's asking her to help him out is suspect. I would agree. Let's look at some of y'all's comments before I go to what I think. And then I want some of y'all to come in. Here you go. Want to weigh in? I started. Lisette, repost that. Y'all, come on in. Come on in my room and talk to TT about what you think and if you have similar situations or questions. So let's see. It seems like it's a resounding no, absolutely not. Hi, y'all. Hi. Let's see. Mabel says no, that's his responsibility. Lisa says, this is not a time to refill a mortgage. I love that. Refill a mortgage. No, we're not doing that. Hell to the now, she'll be left right after she pays off those taxes. I would hope that that's not the case in their marriage, but you just never know. You just never know. Madison said hell knows. Sherry, nope. I agree totally. Lisa says it's a no for me, respectfully, Miss Georgia Peach. Everybody's saying no, and absolutely not. Let the chips fall where they may. I hate that for her. It really puts her in a bad position, and it's really manipulative, quite honestly, and a bad way to like start a marriage. All her cousins saying no. All my nieces and nephews saying no. Let's see. All right, somebody has joined the chat. Let's see. Hey, Mabel.
Hey.
How you
Good
doing?
morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning. Now tell us what you think about this pregunta, this question.
Wait, well, first of all, he is going to have to be unhappy. That's not my responsibility. I met you, married you, and you had this knowingly coming into the relationship. I do think she probably should have found out about his finances, but when you in love and you're not necessarily thinking.
Well,
And I'm just saying, but for her to, she would be taking like many steps back. It's not even just a step back, it's multiple steps back. She owns her house. She's successful. Why?
Right.
And I get her feeling bad, but you know what? Not at her. It shouldn't be at cost to her.
Well, what do you think about if she continues to tell him no and it's having like a negative effect on their relationship? Like, before I weigh in on what my suggestions are for her, like, how do you deal with that?
Well, first of all, if she can do it, can't isn't there some way he could find some way financially to do it? So that shouldn't even be a question. And if it's a, I mean, I don't want to say she should get a divorce, but she should definitely say, look, I'm not doing it. I've done this. You knew coming into this relationship you had a six-figure debt. It's not like $5,000,
Six
$10,000.
figures, sis.
Yeah, I mean that's at least 100,000 and so on and up to almost absolutely not. It's hard because, like you said, she loves this person. She's committed to this person. She's married. Also, how long have they been married? Like, is there a way for her if she feels like this is a deal breaker for her to get out of it? Because if he wants her to do it financially, why can't he do it financially? Because if you're in a relationship, there's a way to do it together
Right.
where it's not all on her. I don't feel like any of it should be on her, but maybe there's a way for them to figure. He should be the one looking for ways to figure it out. He should be the one putting his money into it. He should be the one doing this. And it's kind of like the child support question. Should
Yeah,
you
write that down. I was trying to figure out what that person meant by that. What you think they
so
meant by
I think what they're saying is like it's just kind of like asking her to pay child support if he had child support owed.
that? Oh, okay, okay.
And my whole thing is if you had that before you got with me, that is not my responsibility. Now in California, unfortunately, I believe in this state, if you get married, you
Yeah,
take on
community
that debt.
property. Yeah,
Yeah,
community
you take
property.
on that debt.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it is where she's at, but she definitely needs to look at the bigger picture. And she also needs to maybe push him or pressure him. I don't know what the word would be, into finding a way for him to be responsible and for it to be on him. Because if he's doing this already,
Yeah.
there's other crap that's going to come with it that he's not telling her about, financially or otherwise, probably.
I'm glad you brought up California because I have a good friend who lived in Georgia and knew that she was having problems in her marriage and moved to California. And I was like, I think you should probably get a divorce before you move. She was like, no, we're going to try. We're going to try. We're going to try. And she moved to California. And my friend is a boss and had millions of dollars
And he
in,
got half of it, right?
he got about $3 million of her
That's
stocks,
why a lot of people, like especially
properties.
people with big money, come out here. Like you
Right.
see a lot of celebrities come out here, and then they
Right.
have residences in California and the other state where they live. So when they get divorced, you know what I'm saying?
In
People,
California, they don't care about the cheating if you take them back. So if you take them back, the cheating is then you forgave them. So then you can't
and
bring
it'll
it up
happen
no more.
again.
So you can't
Yeah,
bring so you can't bring it up no
again.
more. You can't bring it up no more.
I
Uh,
think for your niece, she's put herself in a bad situation. I guess we all, and I'm her age. I'm only 2 years older than her, but I also the past 2 years had you in my ear talking about make sure you do this and make sure you
mhm.
do that. And she didn't probably have that because that should have been something that was discussed before marriage was probably even discussed. Their finances. Like, do you have, like, you knew Dr. Dave had student debt. That's, to
Right.
me, that's a little bit different. But there were ways for him to figure it out and to get help. Like, he's not even trying to get help with the situation.
Mm,
He just is like, you're my wife, it's on you.
and you better put it up.
Right.
Well, thank you, Miss Mabel. We
You're
love you.
welcome. Love
Bye
you too. Bye.
bye. All right, y'all. So let's before I get into my stuff, because listen, this gonna turn into a whole bunch of other auntie good, this what you need to do. And this is not so somebody Lisette asked a very good question. She sees somebody else ask it, and let me find it. Hold on. Lisette says somebody said, would this decision be different? If it was the other way around. Now, this just hit me betwixt the eyes, cheering. What if it was my nephew who called and said, I got married. My wife of 9 years has six-figure tax debt. I have hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity in my home, and she wants me to get a second mortgage to pay it off. Is it different? Is it different? I want to know. Y'all let me know. I want to know, is it different? Would it be different? Would it be different? Are some of y'all traditional in your values where you feel like a man should do whatever? Or do you think it's the same? Mabel says she thinks it's the same. But I want y'all to be real with TT. I'm going to be honest. I think it's the same. The sex does not matter. I agree with you, Trisha. Your debt is your debt. And really, y'all, I'm going to tell y'all right now, as your auntie, nieces, and nephews, it is not unsexy. It is not a display of I don't love you for you to sit down and have open and honest financial conversations. Y'all stay running to the pastor to do marital counseling before you get married, and that's fine. Nobody saying anything is negative about that. But you better go take your behind to an Auntie Buffy or a financial counselor, somebody, and put everything out on the table. We need to pull everybody credit bureau, not the good one, not the one that's got the highest score, all three. We need to pull all three bureaus. Both of us look at them. We need to pull everybody's tax returns and make sure that we're current in our tax filings before we get married and find out if somebody has tax debt, right? We need to look up the student loan debt. Do you have student loan debt? Do I have student loan debt? What's our plan together to get rid of that? As a couple, you going to keep paying your payment? I'm going to keep paying my payment, or are we going to do something together? These discussions have to be had before you go down the aisle, because all you're doing is setting yourself up for drama later. A lot of y'all are so excited about a damn wedding and spending all this money to have this wedding. And y'all listen, Auntie is telling you stuff that she knows and that I have done. Auntie eloped. Could I have had a huge wedding in Atlanta with 500 people at the Intercontinental like all the other people do, or the Four Seasons? Absolutely. But why would I do that? Why? It's stressful and anxiety provoking. I would have killed my mama and my sister because they would have got on my darn nerves like I got on my sister's nerves when she got married at her wedding. And weddings are not for the couple. They're for everybody else. Who gonna complain anyway? They're gonna be saying the food ain't good, the music wasn't good, the venue wasn't good, and you don't went into debt to do what? To show off for people who talking about you anyway. Everything could be perfect, and you know darn well them folk gonna be talking smack. Weddings are not for the couple. Many times people are like, they didn't even get nothing to eat. I think my sister didn't even get food or a bite of her wedding cake, except for the picture of it. My ghetto uncle went and cut her cake before they even cut the cake, because that's how people are. I would far rather y'all take the money that you're going to invest in a wedding. If you're lucky enough to have parents like my mother paid for my sister's wedding, tell them instead of doing that, give us the money so we can either pay our debts down, invest in our first home, have some savings so we can have some peace of mind and start our marriage off on a good foot. We got to really change our mindset about this go into debt to get marriage bullcrap. It's the stupidest thing in the world, and it's a setup for failure. And listen, I know there are wedding planners out there and all this and that, and that's fine. There are still people for y'all out there. There are still people out here in the world who have wealthy parents who are going to splurge and do that, and that's fine. But if you ain't got it like that, and you got some sense, don't start your way. I eloped, and yes, I eloped to Paris. Dave and I, Uncle Dave and I eloped to Paris, France. We did. What we did was we took our money and had a lovely wedding and a honeymoon. And I got wedding pictures, and I had a gown. Guess where I got my gown from? David's Bridal. Could I have gotten some brand new Vera Wang something and spent $10,000-$12,000? Yeah, but why the heck would I? For some, I'm gonna wear it one day. I went and spent $1,000 at David's Bridal. I asked my sister and Lisette in the comments because they were both there. Actually, I didn't buy it. My mama bought it for me. David's bridal gown. Yeah. David rented his tux in France, and we kept it popping. Right? Stop falling for all that stuff, y'all. It's not the way to start a marriage. So we've got to have these conversations before we go down the aisle. It's important. The number one reason people get divorced is not cheating. It's money problems, y'all. It's not crawling before you ball. And y'all can get my book on Amazon.com. It's that. I have friends who marry somebody who's like, oh, your family just gonna pay. Your family got money, so they just gonna pay stuff off. You gotta go on and filter that stuff out before you get into it. All right, we got some comments. This real talk. I'm not married yet, and this is good talk. Premarital and financial counseling. Yes, not just talking to the pastor about the biblical sense of marriage and what that means, because that is important if you're a spiritual person. But you need financial counseling. You need financial counseling. My sisters back me, but up. Yep, I went to Davis Bridal. Show did. Davis Bridal. Yes, ghetto uncle Michael took his behind, cut my sister's wedding cake before anybody else had the damn cake. Here we go. Why did it take her 9 years to find out about the debt? The IRS sends letter every day. So we don't know if he has his mail coming to the home. Some of these men are very smart and they have other addresses where things go. Or they're in a situation where they don't open each other's mail. Just never know. She may have known about this for years and he's just now pressuring her about this. I wanted her to come on, but I don't think she was comfortable with that. And that's fine. I don't want to push anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. So I'm not sure. But in her defense, men know how to hide stuff. Okay. Let's just keep it a being. I'm going to live with him and make sure I have access to everything. Yeah, y'all, I'm telling y'all, you gotta learn everything before you go down the aisle. And if somebody tells you that it's unromantic and it's not nice and you don't trust me, it's not about that. It is about trusting each other to know the real deal so that we don't set ourselves up for failure later as a couple. Backyard wedding with Chick-fil-A catering because it's both what we like. Yes, do what you want, not what society or society, as I call society, because we always say what they this and they that tells you to do. Do what you want, not what they want you to do. I know that's right. Let's say it, period. Pin that. The IRS sure do send statements every month because I get them faithfully. Evidently, those letters are being sent someone else. Maybe it's mama house, somewhere else. Yeah, I'm gonna plug that book, honey. No, the other way around. He would need to tell her no. I think it's the same. Your debt is your debt. Now, the wedding isn't for the couple nowadays. It's not. It's for the gram. The wedding is for the gram. It's for the gram. It's for the gram and everybody else. Don't pay his taxes. Don't pay his taxes. All right, we're going to go to what Auntie thinks. I think that she needs to help him set up a payment plan with the Internal Revenue Service. Everybody can get a payment plan. Auntie knows this. I was a licensed tax practitioner for 20 years. You can get an installment agreement with the Internal Revenue Service. The interest rate is less than the interest rate would be on a home equity line of credit. Actually, half of the interest rate is literally half of what they're going to charge you. So it's a better option. They're going to spread it out over, Courtney, correct me if I'm wrong, 7 years. So the payment can be manageable. If even the debt spread out over 7 years isn't manageable for you, you can call the IRS and they will get you to send in, what is it, Courtney, 433, and to tell you what your financial situation is and what you can afford. The thing is, the IRS get a bad rap, but really they try to work with people. The problem is people get them letters and they just put them in file 13, drawer 13, and never look at them. And they let them build up and to the point where the IRS come after you behind and levy stuff. What they're not going to levy is my niece who posed these questions home. That's what we're not going to do, right? I think that she should help him call. She don't need to be on the phone, but she should help him fill out the form. You can do it online. Fill out the installment agreement request, and then make sure it's behind pays it. If she's in charge of their financial budget, make sure that it's paid every month. And then what's the problem? Now, she could go even further and within the marriage, not somewhere legally making her bound to this debt. She may say, I'm going to put X amount of dollars into the marital fund every month, and you can use some of that to pay towards your monthly installment agreement with the IRS. Why should he be mad with her for that? That's a lot cheaper than her having to put her house up for him, and then add on interest and penalties and every darn thing else. That should be a happy compromise, I feel like. And niece, let me tell you this right now. Let me tell you this right now. Do not file taxes with your husband. Now, you just get into me. Y'all been married for 9 years, apparently. I'm not sure if you've been filing joint with him, but if you haven't, never, ever, ever, ever file married filing joint with somebody that has tax debt, somebody that has child support debt, somebody that has any debt, government or anywhere, because you don't want to be legally obligated to now pay that debt. And that's not shade. That's not, I don't love you. That's not anything negative. It's just business. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. Uncle Dave and I, we don't, child, please, when he had them student loans, do you think I filed jointly with him? Hell no. Sure didn't. They gone now. Thank God. Praise Jesus. But no, it was 100% married filing separately. Not doing it. Because Auntie ain't had no student loan debt. Okay. Of course, I didn't go to school as long as he did, but you understand. Don't do it. If you have to file married filing joint, and some cases where couples decide that, you know, they got kids, and when you file married filing separate, you lose a lot of the tax benefits, like, you know, the credit you get for children and earned income credit and all that good stuff. So if it's a situation where you have to file with your spouse, you need to file IRS form 8379, which is an injured spouse relief form. Who is the injured spouse? The spouse who ain't got the debt is the one that's injured. You are the injured spouse. Please don't pay that grown man's debt. Also, I feel like y'all should set up a trust to protect your home. A lot of y'all like, Auntie, I don't have any assets. I don't have anything. I don't need to set up a trust. I don't need to get a prenuptial agreement or a postnuptial agreement. This niece have a whole house with 6-figure equity in it. Yes, baby, you have assets, darling. You have a lot of assets. Plenty. You have plenty of assets. I don't care if you ain't got but $300 in a high yield savings account. That's a damn asset. You need to protect your money yourself, not just from your spouse, but from you getting a car accident and somebody finding out you got 2 nickels to rub together and going after you for that. And a trust don't cost that much money. Much money as y'all be spending on all these damn trips y'all going on. Then you could pay somebody. I don't even like this company, but you go to LegalZoom and set up a darn trust if you ain't got no lawyer to do it, to protect yourself. This is what the wealthy folk do. And listen, they do it and they barely have what she has. She got over $100,000 in equity. We haven't even gotten into what she has in retirement benefits, 401k, an IRA, her personal savings. Yes, you can set up a trust on your home. You can set up a trust on a home that still has a mortgage. You can. And the good thing about that, let me tell you this, nieces and nephews. If she had a trust set up on the home already, she could then tell her husband she can't refinance her house. She would have to take her house out of the trust to get a loan against the house, which is absolutely true. Bing, bing, bing. So then it wouldn't be I'm being mean to you. It would be, I physically cannot do this because my home was put into a trust. So I no longer really own my home. My home is owned by the trust. And there's a mortgage on my home, but that's already included in all that. And if I were to try to obtain a new loan, I would be declined because my house is in a trust. So don't let people tell you that you can't put a house in a trust with a mortgage. You can. You can. Now I'm just going, this between me and y'all. Back in the day in 2009 and 2008, when the world ended with all the stock market and the predatory lending and all that stuff, the people that had their homes in a trust on them high rate mortgages, most of them, their houses didn't get foreclosed on. But you ain't hear that from TT. All right. Okay. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. Who said that? I didn't say that. Did I say that? Ex-spouse has government lien on his home due to owing restitution. Is putting that house in a trust for our son out of the question. Ex-spouse has a government lien on his home due to owing restitution. Is putting that house in a trust for our son out of the question? I think you need to talk to a trust attorney. I think since the lien is already on the home, there may be difficulties with that, but Auntie could be wrong. Again, this is worthy of talking to somebody about. Pay whatever the consultation fee is and find out. Because what you don't want is ex-spouse pass away, the property then goes to your son, and your son still stuck with this restitution lien against a property that is his. About to get married, should I, and let me take this off of this screen and go back full screen. About to get married, should I sell my house and take the money from the sale to pay off debt, or keep the property with six-figure equity? House is paid for. Never sell your houses, children, nieces and nephews. Never. If you can keep your property, keep it. Let me tell y'all something. Wars are fought in this world over what? Land. What is your house on? Land. Nobody cares about that house. They don't care about how nice a house is. What is valuable is the land, because what you can do with that land. You can live on it. You can protect it legally. If somebody come and try to take it from you with a weapon, you can grow food on it. You may have a water source available for you if you determine that you can put a well up and through there, if you got well water. And then what does that mean? You could get solar panels and be totally off the grid. Don't sell your properties. Keep them if you can. Now, Auntie is not silly. I understand that life things happen and sometimes we need access to money, but I would far rather y'all find some other way than to take your power away from home equity. If you own a house outright, I need you to do everything you can to protect that property. If it's grandmother's house and you inherited it and you don't live there, I need you to make sure that grass is cut. I need you to make sure that house is boarded up if ain't nobody living in it. So the city can't come and say you're not taking care of it and take that property from you via eminent domain. Look what's happening to Hawaii. I'm not going to get into conspiracy of what Auntie thinks happened about that fire, but a day later, folk coming in already, developers trying to get these people pennies on the dollar for they burned up land. Because even under all that rubble, that land is valuable. Keep your land, baby. Don't sell that house, pay off no damn debt. Set up a payment plan and pay that debt over time. Let me tell you something about wealthy people. Wealthy people don't care about debt because of bankruptcy protections. They don't. They don't. They live off other people's money. So that means they leverage cheap debt. So you protect your credit so you can always get you a good old cheap 0% interest loan for 12 months or a 1% or 2% loan and use that money and pay off stuff and then pay that back over time. Always keep your cash close to the chest. And that includes equity in your property. Let's see. My sister and I own a home. She's getting married. I want to put the house in the trust. She does not. What can I do? Oh, you need to put that house in the trust because let me just tell you something right now. When sis get married, if she ain't got no prenuptial agreement, guess who own half that property with you? Your sis and her spouse. Boo-boo. Why she don't want to put the house in the trust? I don't understand. Why is it, if I were you, I'd figure out a way to buy sis out. Or sis and I gonna have us a long conversation because what I'm not gonna do is be in bed financially with my new sister or brother-in-law. That's not gonna happen. Nope, I'm not. We own the house, you and I. And again, y'all, these are things that have to be discussed. When you partner with a family member, when you partner with a friend, when you partner with somebody out in the world, you need to think about all these variables that could happen. What if somebody gets married? What if somebody dies? What if somebody loses their job and can't contribute anymore to the property? And put it all in a legally binding contract so that you're not then put in this situation. Okay. You need to be banned and kicked out. Lisette, I don't know if you saw him, but you get the folk that's acting up. Yes, you're right. You would be giving the lien to your son. And so with the other question about the restitution tied to the house. Now, the other, going back to that situation, let's say the house is worth $300,000 and the restitution is $100,000. If the child were to sell the property, which I would never want him to do, always keep your properties, he would net $200,000. But again, we don't want him inheriting that debt. So I would look into if there's a way to get that protected. You're welcome. You are welcome. Hold on. Let me see if there are other questions because Auntie just been going on her rant. Hold on. I agree those steps should be a part of the arrangement from the beginning. Okay, wait. Renee got should I sell my house and move into his that is paid off? Take that money from the sale and pay off debt or keep my house and rent it out. Now you know what Auntie gonna say. Auntie gonna say never sell. Why would you sell your asset? Don't sell. Look at all these companies that's going in here buying up BlackRock, Vanguard, Zillow. All these people stay buying these Amazon. Everybody buying up people property. There is a reason because we are moving to a society of full of renters, not homeowners. And so I know that you're saying, well, I'm getting married. He owns his house, is paid off. Yeah, move into that house. Ain't nobody got a problem with that. That's smart. But I would keep my property and rent it out for multiple reasons. Number one, niece Renee, is what if the marriage don't work out? Where you going? We just established it's his house. So where you going? I'm always need me somewhere to stay. And so if some mess pop off and we get divorced and I got my property rented out, I'm gonna have some clause in there where my tenant, you can get thrown up out of there within 90 days or something. I go get me an Airbnb for 3 months and then go back and live in my darn house. Two, why would you want to get rid of building equity? Renting a property is the way to build, one of the major ways to build generational wealth. So you can rent it out and let somebody else pay your mortgage while growing the wealth and equity in the property. And then also having that safety net of if mess pop off and we don't work out, I got my own house still and I could go back there. Plus, I just want women in general to keep their wealth close to the chest. Don't just give it away just because you're getting married. I love my husband dearly, but when Uncle Dave and I were dating and he asked me to move in with him, yes, I was a heathen. I moved in with his ass before we got married. I didn't sell my properties. I kept my house. I rented my house out to my cousin. Sure did. And when me and David got in fights, I went right on over to my house and stayed there. And I let my cousin pay their mortgage. Him and his girlfriend was staying in the house. And then I ended up renting it out to another tenant when they bought their own home, where they moved into the house together. And I let my house build wealth over time. And now it's worth, good money. No. And I still have it as well. Now, Uncle Dave and I have been together 20 something years. And if Dave tried me, he would be the one thrown out. But that's a different story. Don't. Auntie would say, no, don't sell your house. This thing about let me pay off debt, we've got to get out of this belief that debt is bad. It's not. If it's high interest debt, then yes, figure out a way to improve your credit, figure out a way to leverage cheap debt and pay off your debt with low interest debt over time. Having debt is not a bad thing. Stop thinking that. We're in that old school train of thought of what our parents thought, where it was like you just pay everything off. Wealthy people don't do that. Wealthy people keep a good debt, long as it's cheap. Because if some mess pops off, they'll just file bankruptcy, keep their coin and keep it popping, right? Okay. Let's see what else y'all got. We married at the courthouse, told my then husband we would have a big wedding on our 5th anniversary. Child, we didn't make it 16 months. Best decision I ever made. Happily divorced. I know that's right, L Blizzard. And if I'm honest, all the people I know who had huge behind weddings divorced. If y'all really think about it, think about all the people we know who had these big behind huge weddings. They asked divorce now. They married. I don't know if it's some correlation with that. But I don't know. The IRS is good with working with you on a payment plan. Pick up the phone and call or go online and accept an agreement. It's that simple. Yep. What's the number, Courtney? 800-829-1040. Auntie still remember it. Put my house up. No, ma'am, I don't think so. But the debt is killing my cash flow. Okay, so Crystal, that means that your debt is high interest debt, right? But you got to get married to a man that owns his property free and clear, right? So are you going to have access to some other cash flow? I'm just asking. This is a conversation you should have with your new spouse to be. I have this debt. It's high interest debt. Should I consider selling my house, pulling the cash out, and paying this debt off? He probably would say yes. Auntie says no, because you need to keep your asset. Now, you paying your own debt off, right? So do a cost benefit analysis. Are the interest rates for you to refinance your house right now lower than what it costs you now to pay the debt that you're paying every month that's killing your cash flow? If the 6 or 7% rate that you would get if you totally refinance your house instead of taking a HELOC out is cheaper than what you're paying on credit cards and all that other stuff, which it may be, then refinance your house. If overall the monthly payment is going to be lower and you're not going to turn around and charge that mess up again, then you did a cost benefit analysis that makes sense. And in this case, it's your debt. It's not somebody else's debt. And so you can do that. And then keeping the property and then making it a rental property later after you get married and move in with your new spouse, you having somebody else pay all that off. So again, I stick with Auntie say keep your house. If you have high interest debt and you are not leveraging cheap debt, then create some cheaper debt by refinancing your house to a lower rate than what you're paying on them credit card interest, which may be 20, 25, 30%. So a 6% rate on a mortgage is lower than that. And move forward. See how that makes sense? And then as long as that new payment is going to be in a range where you can comfortably rent the property out and still cover the mortgage and incidentals and stuff. Because remember, when you become a landlord, if the HVAC unit go out, ain't nobody to call. They're going to call you. So you're going to have that money to pay for that HVAC unit to get fixed. If the plumbing is bad, you got to pay for it. Okay? So that's my answer, Crystal. Land is scarce. Yes, it is. My grandma always says they ain't making no more land. I hope y'all give me lots of hearts because you know the algorithm like that. I'm gonna remind y'all. They ain't making no more land. They can't make land. So why would you get rid of your land? Why would you get rid of your land? Yep. Canuta agrees with TT. Make sure that y'all send me your questions. You don't have to send a video. You can click on the link in my bio or this link that this Bitly link that Lisette just posted for y'all, and you can send me a voice recording so that you don't have to worry about people being all up in your business. And Auntie would, she would make a show about it and answer your question. Let's see. That's the other thing. What would he do it? Probably not. He needs to pay his own debt. And I mean, that's something to ask him. You would be surprised how many people tried to get me to sell my house when I got married so we could buy our house, and I only owed $50,000. I said no, and now we are divorced. I'm proud of you. Y'all don't give away your homes. These people burning down land in Hawaii, they having oil spills everywhere to taint an area and then move people out so they can get land. Land is a scarcity, and in a world where we're having food shortages, food scarcity. There's a scarcity of water. Everybody does not have access to desalination efforts that are cheaply acquired to use to take salt water and make it drinkable water. So keep your land. Keep grandmother's house. I don't care if it's in disrepair. I don't care if it's in the country, in the woods, in the swamps. It don't matter. That's good because they can't find you there. Keep it. And keep it, the grass cut, keep the property boarded up and in good condition so that the city or the state cannot take it. Don't give them a reason to take your property for eminent domain because they're looking for it. Look at what happened to all them people after Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, in the lower Ninth Ward. They were like, oh, well, you didn't fix the house up because insurance didn't pay or whatever the reason is. And then the city came in and took their properties by eminent domain and are putting up multi-million-dollar properties now. It's a game, y'all. Don't fall for it. Always keep your land at whatever cost. And if you have siblings and y'all all own grandma and grandpa house, everybody chipping in. And if you ain't got no money to help cut the grass, then carry your behind over there and cut the grass. You can do sweat equity. Don't let people have an excuse. My mom is in her 70s. She wants the home to come to me once she passes. Should we put the home in a trust now? Do you have siblings, Hazel? You should always put the house in a trust. The answer to that question is yes. Always put your house in a trust. Always. Because it just protects it on so many different levels. But my question is, do you have siblings? I am an only child and I'm living proof of generational wealth. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, ma'am. Hazel, answer my question. You're the only, you have siblings. How many? Let me know how many siblings you have. So you need a trust and a will. Good question, Crystal. Trust and a will. They're different things. They're different things. They're different things. A revocable trust and a will. And some of y'all like, dog, auntie, it's a lot of stuff. No, it ain't. Get it done. Because you don't want to be at the funeral passing around a damn collection plate, asking for money. All right, my sister's posing a great question. Do you believe people or families should live together to save money? My sister being messy. Yes. And Courtney, you and I are living proof of that. I have had 4 of my cousins, nephews, everybody live with Uncle Dave when they were in college, when they were trying to figure out what they want to do with their life, because I would rather them live here, work a job, go to school, save up their money instead of having to go pay $2,000 a month rent, right? But there are rules that come with that. And like with my sister, if she want to let her sons live with her so they can figure out what they want to do in life and save up money, I don't think parents should throw their kids out just because they turn 18. It's the most asinine, stupid thing I ever heard of in my life. And really, American culture is the only one who does that. Hispanic people live with their family forever, even with their spouses, smart as all get out because they put their money together. Other cultures stay in the family home. And if you don't own a home, they rent out a home big enough where everybody can stay and everybody can contribute financially. And if you ain't got a job, guess what? You're the nanny. You're going to take care of these children. You're going to pick these kids up after school. We're not paying child care. You're going to fix the meals and cook and clean the house. And that's your sweat equity to stay in the property. And yes, I know family get on your nerves. Listen, do you think I want a smelly teenage boys living in my house? I have OCD. Do you think I want smelly teenage boys living with me? No, I didn't. But I wanted to set them up for financial success and generational wealth. You set them up where they can stack their money away and make them do it. Ask my sister. We have access to my nephews, my cousin Christopher, who live with us, my cousin Terrence. We all have access to their financials. I know that they have IRAs that I make them put money up in, and my sister makes them put up, and my mom makes them put money up in every month that they cannot touch. They have high yield savings accounts. Because what you're not going to do is live here and be in the streets and ain't saving no money. We ain't doing that. That's not we doing that. You can go out and hang out all you want, but as long as you meet your bill, that is the savings, aka I call it your rent for living here, but you ain't paying me no money, you paying yourself, then we good. We good. We good. Good question, Courtney. Auntie gonna wrap up in a minute. We get into the hour. Hold on one second. Let's see. I'm in the house market and having a hard time finding land because builders are buying it up. Yeah, because guess what, baby? Ain't no more land. They ain't making none. So why would you give away yours? Yes, my kids will stay with us till they can buy a duplex as their first home. Yes, Canuta, that's my niece, baby. Yes, and the reason you want them to buy a duplex, and I want my nephews to do the same, is they can live on one side, rent the other side out. The other side gonna pay the mortgage, and you build generational wealth. And what better time to do that than when you're a young person and you're not married and you're not tied up nowhere. I love it. Yes, y'all. I'm so proud. It's very American. Lisette said, I am married, 30 years old, and still live with my parents, no kids, and we are saving our money. Yep. Yep. And dare somebody say some smack about it. And dare somebody say something about it. Of course, her family own half the street they live on, though. But her daddy done bought up all the houses on the street, and family members live in the houses. And they Mexican. We need to learn from that. Yep, literally 4 houses right next to one another. Yep, they do. They do. It's the key to having access, because my niece was bringing buku bags into the house but didn't want to contribute. Nope, you're going to contribute. You're going to contribute. Yes, I'm doing that. That's hard, but the mortgage down to 38,000. Oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And again, don't try to work to pay the mortgage off either. I told my parents were like, they were going to just pay the house off. And I said, for what? If something happens, my sister and I are perfectly capable of renting the house out or covering the mortgage on our own. Why should you take your good money and lose your tax deduction of mortgage interest? Again, leverage cheap debt. Get out of the mindset of I just don't want to owe anybody any money. It's silly and counterproductive. All right, y'all. I'm gonna do one more question. Auntie got 4 minutes left. Let's see. I have land in Texas. Someone tried to purchase it for much less than my purchase price 20 years ago. Oh, heck no. It's located far out in the desert. Should I keep it? Keep it. Keep it. Always keep it. But make sure that, because if an investor's looking at it, then the city may look at it too. There may be something you don't know, like there's some access to some precious metal, some sort of something in that ground that you don't know that's valuable, or it's close proximity to something that folks want. So you want to make sure that they cannot come at you with taking it from you with eminent domain, or somebody trying to buy it from you. The fact that they tried to offer you the price of the value of it from 20 years ago, you already knew that was wrong. I don't care if it is in the desert. Land appreciates. It may not appreciate like land that's not in the desert, but it definitely appreciates in value. So you were right to say no. Keep paying your property taxes. Stay on top of that. Make sure you have a plan for your kids, if you have kids that know about this property, to keep it paid, the property taxes paid. Set up some money somewhere to make sure that the taxes are paid. Put it in, include the land in your trust so it's protected. Always protect your land, because you may never know. You never know what is under that ground. And you know what I'm saying? Never know. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much. I have had so much fun on my little inaugural episode of Ask Auntie Buffy. I appreciate everybody that has come through with their questions and their comments. And now look, y'all not asked me another good question, and I got to answer. Now I got in my little spiel. Is buying a duplex home a good thing at any age? Yes, it's a very good thing if it's your first home. So the thing about buying a duplex is your first home. If you're not married and you don't have kids and a whole bunch of other stuff, or if your family ain't bougie, because you can have kids and live in a duplex, yes, it's a sound financial investment, because you share the liability of the mortgage with your tenant, and you're on site. So they ain't tearing up your property. You there every day, you know what's going on. The thing about buying it as your first property that Auntie is a little concerned about is, if you've never owned a home before, then you don't understand the cost of owning a home. Like I said earlier on in the live, if you are a landlord, if something goes out, you got to fix it. So I'm giving an example. If you're living in your own home and the air goes out, you could say, well, we just going to go to Home Depot and get some fans and open these windows, and we just going to be hot till I could afford to get it fixed. If you live in a duplex, you're not going to be able to do that, because your tenant is paying you money for a working property. So then you're going to need to have financial resources available for you to pay the $5,000 or $10,000 that you would have to pay to get that duplex back cool. You understand? So for me, I think you need to crawl before you ball in home ownership. Start with your own property first. And the reason why I said with the lady where she said she wanted the duplex to be the first property for her kids, that's because she's going to have involvement with it, right? And mom already owns a property. So if something happens, 9 out of 10, mom can help the kids as they're growing wealth to meet the needs of being landlords. But if it's just you and you ain't got no credit and nothing nowhere to help you when something goes wrong, don't jump out there and ball in real estate because you're gonna end up in a mess. Okay. All right, y'all. Make sure you follow me on TikTok. I switched everything, y'all, to at Auntie Buffy. So it's easy to find me. I'm at Auntie Buffy on YouTube, at Auntie Buffy on TikTok, and at Auntie Buffy on Instagram. I love y'all so much. I have had a wonderful day. Please don't forget to send me your questions and comments. You can do a video or you can do it via audio. And we're going to get into this thing with this. And remember, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, get those likes going, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out when I go live or I post uploads. Smooches. I hope y'all have a good day. Bye.